not good to pass on to a child? Is it selfish to not have kids if you carry those like genetic predispositions?
Yeah, because you're not gonna know unless you have children. If those things get passed.
Here, let's go back to the draft, though. What was the thing about the draft?
But
something about the draft?
Taking tests. I don't know.
What was the draft? Somebody was saying, I think women should get drafted.
That's ridiculous.
Maybe women should get drafted because then more women would get pregnant, trying to not go into
All right, essentially what I said, I think you were like, oh, wait. So I can agree that if women can be drafted, then then men should watch the family. So like, if yes, then yes. So like, if a woman goes away to war, like who's gonna watch the family? Then it has to be the guy. He has to know how to feed the family, put them to sleep, everything, all of that. He has to essentially perform the duties of her while she's gone.
But women are just so much better at it than men are.
Because
but this assumes this assumes that there is an existing family and children.
Most likely, I mean,
women are getting married at like in their late 20s and not putting off having children into their late 20s and 30s. Most conscripted soldiers, it's like 18 to, I don't know, 22, 23, 24.
Well, okay, if a woman gets drafted at 18 or 20 and I don't know where she ends up, she never gets the opportunity to have a kid or make birth.
So just like men? Here, do you think women should be allowed to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, then they should be drafted. End of discussion. I don't...
Drafting and being voted, that's different things.
Yeah, they are different things, but in order for a man to be able to vote, he has to be subject to military conscription to be able to vote in the United States. So if you want equality, I mean, you should probably just take it across the board.
Brian, do you think women should vote?
Well, it's an interesting question. So I'll answer it like this. I think we should kind of do away with universal suffrage. So that means we would take back voting from both men and women. To a degree, I think there are criteria which would allow you to be able to vote. One of those could be through military service, and we would allow both men and women to volunteer for this. You could also have a civil service. So I wouldn't gender it. I would just say I think a lot of people shouldn't be voting, both men and women. So you can also maybe get the right to vote through having some sort of stake in the country. Maybe after you have 2 or 3 children. Maybe if you are a landowner, a homeowner, maybe you can get a stake then. But just anybody having the right to vote, I think is kind of a mistake. I think it's a massive mistake, and it's led to a lot of stupid shit. And so to be clear, I'd be in favor of taking away the right to vote from both men and women. I don't think universal suffrage was a good idea. Now, there was 2 parts to this, but it's kind of evading me what my second part was.
An intelligence test?
You could, because you have a lot of like low IQ, low intelligence voters. You could do that, but I don't know if that'd be my first go-to. Yeah.
I have a personal question for you. You said you've been married for 4 years now?
Yep.
You're 31?
Yep.
You want kids? Mm-hmm. What's with the...
We have an apartment right now. We need a bigger place.
Okay.
That's really it.
I understand.
Yes. So in terms of like women voting, though, I do think, I think it's just realistically speaking, you're not going to be able to, I think that's an untenable position. People who want to take away women's right to vote, I've heard arguments for it, but I think it's politically untenable. I do think, though, that women currently as it currently stands, have a privilege over men when it comes to voting, because in order for men to have the right to vote, they have to be subject to forced military conscription. Women have no such obligation or duty. I think at the very least, for the time being, we need to equalize that. Women should have some sort of civil or military duty to the state, and that should be changed. But getting rid of women's right to vote, I'd say no, but I am in favor of walking back universal suffrage for both men and women. Yeah.
Do you think an army of women is going to win?
No, I don't care, though. You guys voted for equality, so here are the fruits of the equality that you so desperately demand.
I don't think women should vote personally, and my argument for that is because we have the choice to not be drafted, and if we're not gonna lay down our life for this country, then we shouldn't be voting for this country, period. I also don't think that women, I could ask all of you guys this question and ask you if you are involved in politics or if you know anything about the governmental system of the United States.
Honestly, I'm trying not to involve myself. Like, I stay away from politics. Did
you vote in the 2025 election?
No, I don't vote. I'm not planning to vote. I'm not old enough to vote, and I'm never probably going to vote. Like, I don't really
Fair enough.
care.
Anybody else?
I am a little bit ignorant on the last couple years of politics because I had really bad alcoholism, stabbed myself, and then went to jail. So I was kind of out for a little bit.
Wow.
Did you vote?
Fun.
No,
Impressive.
I wasn't around.
Did anybody here vote?
Me.
I voted.
I wasn't around.
And I'm pretty political in my mindset and my knowledge about it, I think. So
Do you think women should vote?
I think everyone should go through an intelligence test, men and women, and then maybe you can have the right to vote.
I agree with Brian's take on it. I don't know exactly what would be the prerequisites for, becoming...
Closer to the mic.
Sorry. I don't know what exactly the prerequisites would be, but I definitely don't think every single person in this country has the intelligence to understand fully what they are voting for.
I also don't think dual citizens should be able to vote because you gotta be locked in America, I think, to be able to have a say in American politics. And if you're split, it's just not it.
I would say whoever wants to vote can vote. I'm just not going to do it.
I think you should be living in America for at least 10 years after the age of 18 to be able to vote, in my opinion. But involved and...
Probably the only thing I'll agree with you on this evening, but yes, I agree. I think that you should actually know what you're talking about before you vote, which is personally, I don't stay up to date on a lot of politics because it is very stressful. And so therefore I don't vote because I'm not going to make a decision on something or speak on something that I'm not fully informed of.
I
also wasn't in the country, so.
Wait, you're held 26?
Yeah.
So you voted, you could have voted for the past two elections?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't vote for either, though?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the woman's vote, though, it is the case that if only women voted, for example, and men didn't, you'd basically have Democrat rule for the next 100 years. And if only men voted, you would only have Republican rule or conservative rule for the next 100 years. I do think it is the case that when women are voting, they typically vote for they vote for what feels good, not what is necessarily best for the country. Women are the pushers of political correctness. They're the pushers of what feels good, what seems like the nice, warm, cuddly thing to do. Basically, let in a bunch of immigrants. Oh, it's the nice thing. They're coming here for a better life. Oh my God. Women overwhelmingly vote for this. They support this. And so you could point to the enfranchisement of women for, honestly, a lot of the issues in the country currently.
I think women voting is literally the burden of our economic infrastructure in all of America. I think we're responsible for it. Because otherwise we wouldn't be overrun by immigrants and our taxes wouldn't be the way that they are. America wouldn't be the way that it is. It would probably be better.
Does anybody have any thoughts there?
Did you vote? I'm just wondering, did you?
I'm not going to comment on that.
I think if you didn't vote, you honestly can't talk about politics in any way, shape, or form because you had the opportunity to make a difference in this country and you chose not to.
I can't make a difference from Moscow, Idaho.
Every single person in America thinks that their vote doesn't matter, and that's exactly why we had the least amount of votes this past election than we've had in a really, really long time.
Do you think it's because people didn't... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you think it's because of that, or do you think it's because the candidates this time just were not
I mean,
I think either side?
I think it's both for sure, but I think that every single person thinks that they can't make a difference, and that's why they don't go out and vote. But it's your constitutional right to choose, and when you choose not to, how can you have an opinion on anything? You had the choice, you had the opportunity to make a difference, and you chose not to. And your mindset is exactly what's wrong with this country, and it's exactly what's wrong with the youth. And it's exactly why nobody's voting. And it's exactly why people keep coming into power, and everybody talks about it, and everybody's pissed off about it. But you didn't do anything when you had the chance to do it. So how can you speak on something when you chose not to?
I think I never said that women don't have free will to talk about politics. I think women can absolutely talk about politics, but I don't think they should be involved in them.
But talking about them is kind of being involved.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
No, it's not. Because if you're physically involved in politics by voting, that's completely different rather than sitting around a table talking about politics with a bunch of girls. Because we're not doing anything for the country right now, are we? We're not protesting. We're not pleading. We're not trying to run a bill. Like, we're not doing anything. We're just talking.
You know, I was thinking about something. I saw a tweet, and I reposted it a day or two ago. I think if we were importing millions upon millions of ABGs, Asian baby girls, boba girls, or whatever, like if we were importing like 18 to 29-year-old, like Southeast Asian women, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Vietnamese women into this country instead of like Indian men, Latin American men, I'm pretty sure women would immediately put on fucking SS uniforms and immediately want to put a stop to shout out to Asmongold for this one. The women would put on an SS uniform and immediately want a complete halting of immigration into this country. If we were importing 18 to 29-year-old women.
Wait, why?
Because it would be sexual competition.
Oh.
If we're importing like women who are just like way better looking and like way more feminine than the stock of women that we have in the United States, women would be like furious and up in arms because you'd start losing your like leverage in the dating marketplace. But because it's like, you know, we're importing men, whatever, you know, you guys are fine with it, whatever.
No, I feel like I'm always competing with Latinas, not the Asians.
Well, it could be Latinas too. It could be Latinas too, I guess. But yeah.
Nothing is stopping any woman from being high quality, no matter the race.
Sure. Yeah. I just think like if the demographics of who the either legal or illegal immigrants shifted, and like these women would be way more desirable than American women. Bro. I mean, we have a whole movement, passport bros, who travel, spend a bunch of money to go to a different country because the quality of the women in these other countries is just better than the quality of American women. So it's like, yeah, the women would be completely up in arms. The white women would be the most anti-immigrant demographic that fucking ever existed if we were just importing a bunch of like hot 18 to 29-year-old Latin American women, Eastern European women, even Western European women, Asian women. Y'all would not like that. Yeah. No, nothing for that.
I wouldn't care. I don't know. It depends on the scale. If they're stealing my man,
they're taking the man.
Ban immigration. Get them bitches out.
Those of you who are single, Do you guys feel like there's an abundance of like high quality men currently?
Not in the US.
Well, if there's an abundance of high quality men, why aren't you dating them? I think there's I think from the women's lens and perspective, I think women think that there's a scarcity of high quality men.
I don't think so. I think it's all perspective, just like everything else in life.
It's
and
perspective.
So me personally, I want someone that I feel that connection with. I want someone that I get along with. I want someone that I share morals with. That we have the same drive and ambition and wants in life. You know, I think that there's plenty of men that have money. There's plenty of men that are good. I don't believe that all men are bad. I don't believe that most men are bad. And that's a lot coming from me, if you know my background and my story. I think that there are a lot of good, high quality men out there that maybe just haven't really applied themselves the way that they could, and they need someone that will support them or push them or whatever. But I mean, there's plenty of men with money that are kind, that are generous, that are whatever. I don't think all men are
What do you offer
bad.
that makes a man want to push himself, though?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it just depends. For me in my past relationships, what I've been told that I offered that made a man want to do more for himself is inspiration and support. You know, and being there 100% for him and supporting him through whatever he wants to do and whatever he wants in life. I think that is being a true partner. And I may not want kids, and that I will say that is for medical reasons.
What do you mean medical reasons?
So I'm Rh negative, and I had a miscarriage with my ex-husband. And Rh negative means that my
previously married, didn't know that. What's Rh negative?
Rh negative is so everyone's either Rh negative or Rh positive. If you're Rh negative and you have a miscarriage, then you're more likely to have more miscarriages. Whenever you're Rh negative and you have a baby that's Rh positive, or your partner's Rh positive, your body creates antibodies to kill a fetus.
Okay,
and because of that, plus other things, like I have a seizure disorder. I have an extreme phobia of needles. I only have a seizure when I'm around needles. And you cannot have a seizure while you're trying to give birth. Well, every time that I'm, you know, if I'm giving blood or whatever, you have to give blood all the time. Whenever I had my miscarriage, I had to go give blood all the time. I had a seizure every single time. That impairs
gave blood, or?
Because you have to get your HCG levels or HGC or whatever levels checked whenever you have
got the triggering event for your seizures was giving blood?
Yes, since I was little. So I pass out and I have a grand mal seizure. This has happened since I was 7 years old. And I've also had seizures outside of that, but that's the primary thing that I deal with.
Well, look, I think for medical reasons, not wanting to have children is valid. But
My point that I was circling back to is that even though that's not possible for me, something that I have discussed with my past partners is adoption, is fostering, because I'm someone that has the heart to do that, which is why I brought that point to you two ladies, that just because I don't feel comfortable getting physically pregnant because it could actually kill me does not mean that my, God's path for me is not meaningful. Doesn't mean that I'm not meant to do something, right, or be that type of person or whatever. And I think for you ladies to sit here and say that women's duty is to get pregnant and have children is putting a box around women that have special circumstances, and you may not even be realizing it, but even if it was simply my choice that I just don't want to, but I have a heart for something else that a lot of people don't have a heart for, I think that that's something special.
I do think that's kind of like a personal condition, because I don't know how often that happens, that someone's like HR negative or...
What does this have to do with the ABGs, though? That's
Oh
what
my
I want
God.
to know. What does that have to do with the ABG?
I don't think anyone was really interested in the ABG,
I think
so
they're
we
very
changed the
interested.
subject.
I think you guys just don't want to
Why
acknowledge the
ABGs?
fact that y'all women would be like the most anti-immigration people ever if the demographic of illegal and legal immigrants weren't men, but they were like 18 to 29-year-old women. And no, the conversation was, so I think my position is, we were talking about, is there an abundance of high quality men out there? Now, I think most men are good men. I guess it depends what we're talking about when we say high quality, but I do think a lot of women, I don't know if it's most women, a lot of women do feel, where are all the good men? Where did all the good men go? Maybe this is just from their framing, their lens of they're not acknowledging all these good men that do actually exist, because maybe they're chasing after a really top tier level of men. But I do think it's a common gripe I hear from women of, where are all the good men? There's a lacking of, there's a lacking of high quality men. And so my position is, as it relates to if we were to import like tens of millions of Latin American, Eastern European, and Asian women childbearing age, 18 to 30 or whatever, I think a lot of women have an issue with it, because I think a lot of women acknowledge that there's a shortage, let's say, of possible partners, of possible high caliber, high quality men, and this would massively increase, it would create a lot of competition, and I think most men, American men, would probably appraise women from Latin America, women from Eastern Europe, women from Asia as higher quality partners, perhaps both, maybe not even necessarily even looks, but in terms of their values, in terms of their personality, in terms of their femininity. I would argue Western women, American women, are the most masculine women to have ever existed in human history. You can think feminism, you can think equality, you can think boss babe culture, you can think degenerate rap music, all this shit. By the way, red flag if a woman likes rap music. Raise your hands if you like rap music. You fucking degen.
Wait, which rap?
Degen.
Just any?
Oh, DJ.
I mean, I'll give you some leeway if it's like, you listen to some, good like 90s, early 2000s rap. But if you're listening to this fucking dog shit mumble, I don't even understand what the fuck they're saying, rap, and they're talking about, I mean, to be fair, rap in the 90s, they were also talking about fucking killing cops and I'm going to fuck a bitch and I got all this money and I'm a thug and I'm gonna fucking pop a cap in your ass bullshit, fucking degenerate music. I think that's like really low class.
I
don't know. I don't know. You disagree. I think it's a red flag if a woman listens to rap music.
I just noticed that in Europe, men seem to be more in tune with their feelings and willing to be more open. So the quality of men in the U.S., that's just like the idea of always having an option, not being ready, not knowing what they want. And it's like you're sitting in front of them telling you, hey, like what we've been seeing each other for months now. What is it that you want? Oh, I'm just not ready. Like
he's just not into you.
Well, yeah, but it's like, 40-year-old, you still don't know what you want?
I think
He's just not that into you.
Or
he's just not serious.
I think American men just don't know what they want, and they want an easy choice.
You could say that about European men also. I think.
No, I think they know what they want.
Well, I think due to
No, they don't. Wait. There's massive. Like if you look at, for example, Sweden or the Scandinavian countries, like promiscuity is rampant in these countries.
Sure. But I'm just saying what I've noticed in American men is they want an easy choice. They don't want you to have an opinion or thoughts. I'm not saying, like, they just want, you can get your tens of millions of ABGs, whoever you want, and the men will come and take them because, great, we have all these options. How would you feel if we had a bunch of, like, beautiful, like, men who check off everything that we want come to the U.S.? Will you suddenly be against immigration?
Well,
I will say yes to
I am against immigration.
Well,
so
then you shouldn't be here.
I suppose my position wouldn't really change, but I don't know if this is going to either come across as racist or gay.
Maybe
fuck
both.
it, whatever. Look, I'll be honest. So, no, I don't think it would necessarily come across as racist. I'll say this. Of the immigrants that do come here, many of them, by the way, I want to say something. I'm not in favor of illegal immigration from South America, Latin America. I like Mexicans. Mexicans are fucking cool. However, I don't think we should allow them to illegally immigrate here. I will say this, though. If we were had a bunch of immigrants from European countries, culturally, they're much more aligned with with American culture. There would be easier assimilation, especially if they're coming from nations that speak English. So yes, I do actually, if you're asking me, would I be more in favor? I guess technically I would be more in favor of immigrants from Western European countries, because culturally it's either easier for them to assimilate to our culture. Sometimes there's a shared language, English, and in fact many European countries, many of them do speak English. You look at Scandinavia, you look at the Netherlands, they're all basically fluent in English. Whereas you have a Mexican immigrant who comes here, sometimes they stay here and they've been here for 30 years and they still don't know how to speak English. So yeah, I guess I probably would be more in favor of allowing for legal immigration. Well, I guess even if it's we're granting there's going to be some level of illegal immigration, I guess I'd be more in favor of I'm not in favor of illegal immigration, but I suppose the illegal immigration would be better if it did happen from European countries.
All right, so how do you feel about people like me, immigrants from Russia or Ukraine?
What do you mean?
Are they in favor? Are you good with them being in the country? How do you feel about them?
Well, I mean, there's a bit of nuance to this, because currently the United States is, in terms of nations, we're in conflict with Russia. So that's another thing.
Kind of why people are leaving.
But overall, I think, what do I think about legal Russian immigrants? I suppose I'm fine with that, yeah. Although, truth be told, I'm really not a big fan of immigration, period. Whether it's legal or illegal. Legal or illegal. I think we should probably limit it quite a bit. So, yeah.
So,
but
you don't want to take it away altogether, sorry.
If you're going to come here and you're going to assimilate and you're bringing value to the United States and you're not going to be on welfare, fuck yeah, you can come to the United States. But a lot of these immigrants, even from some European countries, right? A lot of them end up on welfare. A lot of them end up needing government assistance. And I think that that's a net negative to the United States.
Honestly, I can agree, because I came to this country to build myself as an artist, to be to perform, to create something, music and dancing. I think if a person has an initial goal they want to pursue here, and they can pursue it here rather than there, that's an awesome, fuck yeah, move here, do your thing.
Well, I mean, I don't really, honestly, I say fuck that. I don't give a shit about, no offense to you, congratulations for your performance art or whatever. I'm fine with bringing over Russian scientists, Russian physicists, Russian engineers, highly intelligent people that are going to, the creative. I don't really give a fuck about importing artists. I don't care. If you're going to actually, if you're a Russian cancer researcher, fuck yeah, come here. You're a fucking singer, no offense to you. Don't give a fuck. That shouldn't be justification to grant you citizenship. Now, that's not why you were granted citizenship, but nah.
My father studied to be an engineer in the Soviet Union, but when he came to the U.S., he couldn't necessarily get a job as an engineer here because they didn't recognize his education.
Yeah, that does happen.
So he unfortunately did not. He now has a very good job that he worked his ass off for, but it's not an engineering job. So when it comes to my brother and me, my brother is now actually working as an engineer. He got his education as an engineer, got his job as an engineer. And I'm not saying immigrants should stay on welfare through and through. You know, you come here, you have, some doctors do come here and unfortunately cannot get the job that they studied their whole life for. And there's a difference in that.
That's honestly true. I saw that, like I witnessed that actually happen a couple times.
My sister-in-law's cousin is, I don't remember what exactly in the medical field she does, but she was a very good doctor, and she unfortunately could not work as one in the U.S.
Well, there's different accreditation processes. I'm not really super familiar with that. I mean, I would also just amend my statement here. While I did say I'm in favor of, you know, let's say you're some superstar physicist, engineer, you're in STEM in a foreign country, I would love to bring people's intelligence to the United States, so long as it doesn't misplace American citizens who are also in these fields. So if we had, you know, if we have a limited amount of jobs in I'm trying to think of, physics, engineering, what are some of the other examples? If it's not displacing American citizens by bringing them in, and it's just bolstering our base of our ability, I don't know the right phrasing, but then yeah, I'm fine with it.
I think that people shouldn't immigrate to America unless they're willing to serve in the military. And I think if they come here, they should serve in the military, personally.
Not that I don't disagree with that, but what about age-wise, depending on when you come to the country? You know, is there an age limit to what you just said?
No, I don't think that people should immigrate to America if you're not from here.
That wasn't what you said. You were talking about Army. Like, if you move to the U.S., then you should join. You know, I'm just asking, my specific question is age-wise. Like, do you have an age limit to when
So, like, if your parents immigrated here with you, is that your point?
No, I was simply asking your question. Like, if you immigrate and you're, let's say, in your 40s, should you still go into the Army? 50s, yes. 60s?
I don't think I would agree with that. But
I don't think so.
I don't think. I don't know if I would be in favor of like having. France has something called the French Foreign Legion, where you can come from anywhere, and if you agree to serve in the French Foreign Legion, that will be your pathway to becoming a French citizen. I don't really like that. I don't think I like that for the United States. I think we've taken in a lot of people. I think we got to keep, I don't know. We got enough problems as it is. Let's just keep America for a little bit. Fix some of our problems. Then we can maybe revisit allowing all these other people to come here.
Well, that's my whole point, is I'm not for immigration by any means whatsoever. And it's the whole problem with America to this day. I think that if you want to come to this country, then you should be willing to fight for it rather than come to this country, live here, and oppose it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be open. Like, I don't think that there should be some United States military program that's like, hey, come join this military group and we'll give you citizenship. I don't know if I like that. I think we can call upon our existing citizenry to provide the defense of the United States. I don't think we need foreigners to do that.
Okay, honestly, one more thing. There is a difference between immigrants and migrants. So like immigrate and completely like migrate. Does someone know the difference between those two?
Between what?
Immigration and migration. Because I'm pretty sure that immigration is when a person comes to a country for a couple of years, just maybe like escaping a war or pursuing something for like school, and then they go back. But migration is when they move and they're willing to live the rest of their life in that other country. And that's a very big difference.
Okay. Is there a point?
There is a point because all of the stuff with the war, with the skills, being like scientists, doctors, some people who are immigrants, they didn't want to end up here. They were just escaping a war.
What?
I think you're talking about asylum seekers, not immigrants.
Or refugees that are refugees. Like fleeing persecution.
Maybe.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't. So there's no war in Canada. There's no war in Mexico. Those are the only two countries that border the United States. There's no why the fuck are Somalians coming here? That's a fucking another continent.
Or Indians.
They're economic migrants, and I just asylum seeker to the United States? From where? Canada's not doing some stupid shit. You could argue there's some conflict in Mexico, but nothing that would warrant a Mexican to seek asylum. And the international rules as it relates to asylum seeking, you have to stop at the first country that'll take you. So there's plenty of countries in Latin America. Well, I mean, Mexico would be the clear choice here. You have all these people coming from South America. They need to stop in Mexico if they're actually seeking asylum, or perhaps even some prior country. I don't know exactly the specific details. I don't know if it'd be Costa Rica. I don't know if it'd be Panama. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe if you're, I'm not super familiar with the exact thing here. But I don't know who comes to the United States. How are you coming to the U.S. for asylum?
I would say what about people from Ukraine?
That's not right next to it.
I mean, you can go west into Europe.
Some countries aren't that welcome to people coming there.
Why should America be if all other countries aren't?
So where would they go, for instance?
It's not our problem.
I mean, I don't know. Why can't we help I would actually be in favor of helping these countries develop.
Don't you think we've poured enough money into other countries, though? Like, why not actually help our own country that's billions of dollars in debt because of other countries?
Well, sure. I mean, look, if the trade-off is through, helping these countries build up their infrastructure or whatever, and perhaps we can even get a return on investment, that would limit immigration, which has an economic cost to the United States taxpayer. If the economic trade-off makes sense, then why not do it? Like, if we can invest in this if we can spend $1 million in some Latin American country and develop it to the point that X amount of people would be less likely to illegally immigrate to the United States, and through there, if they would have otherwise illegally immigrated, this would cost us $5 million. I think that the trade-off is clear.
I mean, sure, we've done it before, like helping with the liberation of France, and there didn't turn out to be complete degenerates, but we've tried with other countries like the Middle East, and I mean, it has blown up in our face time after time. I mean, we've pulled out of that country, 4 times now?
Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there wasn't really, like, people from Afghanistan did not really have a great pathway to illegally immigrating to the United States. I agree with you that the United States intervention in much of the Middle East was a complete failure militarily and economically, and has created massive burden on the taxpayer. But I don't know if that's really related to immigration necessarily.
Well, most of the immigration here are becoming Middle Eastern. So I would argue that it is.
I don't know if that's because of U.S. intervention in the Middle East. Although
no, I don't think it is. But my point is, you guys are talking about how we shouldn't be, or we should be helping countries become, democracies or whatever. And we tried that, and it failed.
The U.S. military intervention in Afghanistan I think that's a little different than what I'm talking about here. I think if even corporations want to go into these countries and they want to get a return on investment or something, they think it would be beneficial, or even if it's the United States government is giving guidance, why not? And if we think it's going to have some downstream positive effect for the United States, either through a diminishing of immigration or perhaps economic benefit, then I think I'm fine with it. I don't think we should be necessarily doing fucking regime change shit.
Okay, so you're not talking about like governmental aid. You're talking about like just strictly economic, like infrastructure. Like if we were to bring Micron to like Europe, is that what you mean? Like investing in the country in that way?
Look, if we can have I don't know the precise specifics, but a lot of these fucking countries don't know how to like run proper infrastructure. How can we get them up to speed so they can be self-sustaining and they can have a quality of life for their citizenry that is good? So yeah, I think it's okay to help out other nations, increase their development index or whatever. If we come, I think that's totally fine. I don't think we should be like having fucking wars in these countries and like spending a ton of money. But I think that there are government programs that can bolster, if we do want to see, for example, a decrease in immigration from these countries, maybe there's things that we can do to put in place so that these countries can develop. And I think one of the ways you can do that is through assistance with infrastructure and making these countries like good places to live. That way, people don't want to leave these countries. They want to stay in their countries.